Can a best of be all you need? Well, for some artists, sure. Don't make the mistake I did for years in thinking that Pat Benatar was one of those. It's the 40th anniversary of her Tropico album, so we're diving in to celebrate it and find out just how wrong I was. Hi, and welcome to the channel. Yes, it is the big 4-0 for Tropico. Sheer poetry, yeah? Hmm. Anyway, it is getting the random foreplay treatment from me to celebrate that anniversary. Now, what does that mean? If you've not been on the channel before, you might be thinking, huh, well, it's nice and simple. I simply throw the album on shuffle. We listen to the first four songs that come up and chat about them along the way a little bit as well. It is entirely random, so we might get the big hit from this album, which I love, the follow up smallish hit from this album, which is actually probably my least favorite thing on here, or any of the fabulous deep cuts that hid from me for so many years because I thought owning best shots was enough. Wonderful. Anyway, if you like Pat Benatar, whether just the hits or everything she's done, make sure you click like on this video as we dive into our first random track of the day, which will be this one. We're starting midway through side two with a 2-minute number,
The
Suburban King.
alarm clock rings, but you don't move. But the wife gets up and puts on her uniform. You hear her in the bathroom cause she's got that nagging cough. You put your head under the pillow to forget you've been laid off. Suburban King, Suburban King. You had it printed on your van cause it had a pretty ring. Suburban King. The union man said you'd be recalled, but the company up and moved to Taiwan. You counted on the pension plan, but you were out of luck. The union says you only qualify for 25 bucks. Suburban King, Suburban King. You had it printed on your van cause it had a pretty ring. Suburban King, Suburban King. Your American dream didn't mean a thing. Suburban King.
Short and sweet, but bittersweet. Suburban King. All right, that was indeed Suburban King, which was co-written by Neil Girardo, who was Mr. Benatar and co-producer of this album and guitarist, of course. And he wrote that one with Billy Steinberg, who might get another mention depending on what else comes up. But you know, along with Tom Kelly, he wrote Like a Virgin and Eternal Flame and True Colors and all kinds of things in the 80s and beyond, um, including obviously Few for Pat along the years. So that's just a nice little 2-minute vignette. Apart from him only getting 25 bucks from his pension plan, I think that might be up a little bit now, but that could have been written today about what's happening to people getting laid off out of work. He starts off, the wife's going out to a pretty crummy job, but he's just laying in bed because he's got nowhere to be. And he thought he had it all, but he didn't. It got taken away from him. And not by the immigrants either, probably. All right. An interesting first taste of this rather fine album. We'll get into some more tracks very soon. But first, let's give it a little bit of context. This is Pat's fifth studio album, which was released in November 1984, and it followed on from her live album the previous year, Live from Earth, that also had a couple of studio tracks at the end of it. One of those was a little thing called Love is the Battlefield. So that became her biggest hit at the time, and I think probably ever, and pointed towards the slightly softer sound that she used on this album compared to the more hard rocking Pat that had been the case on her first four efforts. So, with me being the big softy that I am, that might explain why this is probably my favourite of all of her albums. There's a few that could be in contention there, so I won't say that outright. So let's hear two more tracks from this album, which I'll let play back to back, and we'll start with this one. album closer. Taking it back. Maybe my second favourite track on the album. This is all about Pat's experiences in the music biz. The chorus on this one. Taking it back. I shall try not to sing. The lyrics in this handy leaflet of this album. Taking it back. You can't mistake this for anything other than an 80s album, but not in an overbearing way.
What they gave you was exactly what you wanted. And just to be fair, you know that some of it's true. That's why you gotta be careful about your wishes. Take your time and think them over. Sometimes those wishes just might come true.
I'm singing this time, promise.
Tell 'em you're taking it back, so they might as well get used to the idea. You're taking it back, 'cause the operating days are over. Tell 'em you've had enough, and if they don't like it, it's tough. You're taking it back, 'cause the operating days are over.
She really did put her money where her mouth was, taking control of the career at this point. Probably to her detriment in many ways, but also probably worth it. Anyway, that's the end of the album. It's not the end for us. We'll move straight on to Temporary Heroes. Oh, we're doing well today. This is probably, if that was my second favourite, this is probably my first favourite from this album. Enjoy. Can't I sing along with this one too? Let's all hope.
I've seen all the downfall, temporary hero. Misguided direction, longing for perfection. Love and pain, only for
guitar, of course.
Watchful of the glasses, but don't turn away. Though the wounds are healing, don't tell me the feelings the same. Love and pain, only for the foolish. Once again, try to hide what's there inside. I'm the same temporary hero who's to blame. Love and pain, only for the foolish. Once again, try to hide what's there inside. I'm the same temporary hero who's to blame. Only for the foolish. Once again, try to hide what's there inside. I'm the same temporary hero who's to blame.
Gee, yeah. Nice 30-second 80s fade out, which I don't really like. I, doesn't that take away from a wonderful song? Which means we've only got time for one more, which we'll get to in a moment. All right, that was Temporary Heroes, and as I say, might well be my favourite track on this album. Now, I have not heard of the writers, so I can't even tell you their first names. This is a Trufa re-release on BGO Records, so a British label, and all they say in the liner notes here is that us Brits are represented in the shape of Trevisick and Clee and their track Temporary Heroes. So whoever Trevisick and Clee are, great job. The writers we heard on the track before that was, of course, Taking It Back. I know who they were because that was Neil and Pat. Anybody else? No, just the two of them. And as I say, that was all about her regaining control of her career from all the men who had kind of given her what she wanted, but with a lot of things attached to that. And the lyrics great because she's not afraid to apportion some of the blame to herself for grabbing what she could while she could, but she got herself to a position where she could say, "Stop! This is what I'm going to be from now on my terms." And well, she's still doing it, so good on her. So it does mean that we are 3 tracks into a random foreplay, which, if you can do maths, as I know you can, there's only time for one more song. If you're still with me, do subscribe to the channel because I do this sort of thing every couple of weeks with an album that's usually 40 or 50 years old, depending on what's celebrating an anniversary, really. So the big hit on this album is We Belong, and it'd be nice for that to turn up. The one that followed it up was another Neil and Pat song, which, as I say, I'm not crazy about the Ooh Ooh song. Chances are that's going to come up because I always get my least favourite after my favourites. That's just how randomness works for me. But there's loads of other good tracks as well. So, well, to find out what we're actually going to listen to, let's just carry on and listen to it now. Different tune. Neil showing off a different aspect of his talents in this one. This is Painted Desert. Just over 5 minutes. This is the longest song on the album. Written by Neil with Pat's drummer, Myron Glomack. This is
I hear your heartbeat, but you're never there.
Again, some great minor key work going on here.
lost in a painted desert.
I'm a sucker for a minor key.
In a painted desert
Without you.
I've done some thinking now that you're not here. I know your reasons, and they're still not clear. All I'm sure of is what I got to lose. I tried to be a better loser, but it's just no use. You know that this town's like a painted desert. Dead heat, moving in the city. I'm lost in a painted desert. In a painted desert without you. Walking the sundown, I search in vain, waiting on a wind that whispers out your name. Through concrete canyons echoing the world above our faces. No direction looks like home. Where is my oasis?
Boy, she can sing anything.
You know that this town's like a painted desert. Dead heat, moving in the city. I'm lost in a painted desert. In a painted desert without you. In a painted desert without you. Where is my oasis?
Another quite slow fade out. It was what they did in the 80s. Um, we won't quite finish there. We'll just have 10 seconds in the next song to see what we could have won. So these are the 4 songs that would have come up if we hadn't heard those 4 songs. Crazy World Like This is what we just missed out on. Another pretty good track with
Baby, I
Tom Kellyanne.
forgot
We signed over the running credits for that one. But that's all the time we have for. If we had started with that, we would have followed with the UU song, so thank goodness. The Outlaw Blues, good one, which I can never remember how it goes, but I always like it when I hear it. And Love in the Ice Age, great one, which I do know how it goes and like when I hear it. All right, but I'm happy with the ones that we did hear, and I hope you are too. So we wrap up the random foreplay today with Painted Desert. We belong nowhere in sight, so we don't get the big top 5 hit today, but you can listen to that on your own steam anytime. Probably even on the radio still in some parts of the world, not over here. But yeah, really strong album. Probably a bit divisive amongst the hardcore fans. I don't actually know because I don't know if any of them actually met a hardcore Pat Benatar fan, but I know they must exist, and hopefully some of them are even watching this now. If you are one, let me know your thoughts on this album, Pat in general, anything you like, really. I like a good comment, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already because hey, I'd like you around more times than just once. Anyway, we're basically at the end of the year. I've only got one anniversary album left to go. It's not a very good one, and it's 60 years old. Find out about that in December. But meanwhile, thank you for joining me today. And if you'd like to see another album from 1984, November '84 for that matter, that is way more than its singles, well, head that way. Otherwise, over there's something else that YouTube thinks you'd like. Either way, thanks for watching today, and it's bye for now, but I hope not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.